Welcome, everyone. Guys, I'm really sorry about the wait. Um, yeah, I try to understand. I got other people's stuff I got to work around too. And sometimes other people have hangups, and sometimes those hangups trickle down and make my things become hangups. So I apologize, but I appreciate you guys sticking around and waiting. Um, Sorry, I had to get my green tea. All right, so um, I'm going to share a link real quick in the chat. Might be too long. All right. Let me see. Yeah, you should be able to click on that, and that's basically the file for. I mean, this case. The records are public as far as this case goes. That's the website for Collin County. So anybody can look at this stuff. And I want to go over some stuff. As we know, Michael Long filed for a writ of mandamus. Again, guys, just a quick disclaimer. I'm not an attorney. I can only interpret these as best as I can, or go by other channels that are attorneys. And so I like I said, if you want a full understanding of what these documents say, I would absolutely recommend Recusal Law. That channel is extremely informative. So just make sure that if you want exact explanations for what's going on here, all I can do is tell you what I see when I read this stuff, and take it with a grain of salt. But the thing is the stuff that I read today and the stuff that I'm going to share with you today is pretty self-explanatory. At least it seems that way. So understanding what we know so far. So Michael filed a writ of mandamus, and he petitioned for a stay. And a stay basically means, as I heard another channel describe it, as a timeout. I believe Profiling Evil, Mike King, described it as a timeout. And when referring to the Daybell Vallow case. Now, it's interesting because, like I said, the name of the game is stall. But it looks like Michael Long has already used up all of his stalling that he has. I mean, you only have so much leeway. You only have so much give to a rope before it tightens, and there's no more. There's no more rope. So it's looking that way at this point. I don't know what else Michael can do. Now, still, there is no warrant out for his arrest. Nothing to that effect. We do know that the thing that Kelly's attorneys petitioned to the judge was that if none of this stuff pans out that he's trying to petition, that he should get jail time. And it's looking like he's probably, it might be looking that way. We won't find out until the hearing on the 4th, I don't think. Maybe the Monday prior to that, but it's next Wednesday is the 4th, I believe. So it's not looking real good for Michael right now. And, the whole point of me doing this, for the most part, like I said, I want to keep you guys informed with what I know, as soon as I know it, as best as I can, and explain to you at least how I see things going. But also mainly, I want Michael to do the right thing, and I want Sophie safe. And Do I think that he is a direct danger? Is my personal opinion that he is a direct danger to Sophie? No, I don't believe that. But I believe that if he does not comply with law enforcement, if they issue a warrant for his arrest and they say you need to bring her in, there is a court order saying you are in contempt and you need to bring this child in, well, then he needs to do that, because if he does not do that, he is then putting Sophie in direct danger, because they are going to consider him dangerous if that's the case. And if they consider him dangerous and she's with him, then that puts her in danger. So long as he doesn't do the right thing. And if he does the right thing, then we're all good. All he has to do is just follow the court orders. Hopefully he does that. But we're talking about a man who, let's face it, all of this, everything, the only reason that any of us know about this are due to acts of desperation from this man, because he believed that his daughter needed help and that no one was listening. She was screaming for help. She was in danger. She was in danger of being put in a very dangerous environment for her. And since he believes that, and it's his daughter, and he loves his daughter, he took some desperate measures to try to avoid that. And so, I mean, that hopefully he realizes he's been doing things legally this entire time. He's been following the law, at least he's appeared to anyway. So he's been appearing to at least follow the law and basically use loopholes within the law in order to keep Sophie in his possession and keep her out of the environment that he believes to be dangerous for her. Now, basically what's going on here is Michael has he filed for let's just go over it real quick. And let me share the screen here. All right, so let me take myself out of this so you can see that a little bit better. It's not much better. Sorry, guys. But I did share the link to this in the chat. So anybody can access this. So we have here where the case events are on the 30th of 2021. It says event type response due, blank for disposition or document. But 7/29/2021, this is all going backwards. Let me go in real time here. Petition for writ of mandamus filed on 7/14/2021. The disposition says strike. I'm not 100% sure what that means. I'm guessing that means that it's stricken from the record, maybe. I don't know in the case. But if it were, why would it say that there? Why would it have it? I don't know. Or maybe it just has to show what the petitions were. Motion to stay filed, strike for 7/15, 2021, 7/23/2021, order received from trial court. That's blank. 7/26/2021, motion to stay filed, strike. 7/27, order entered, strike. 7/29/2021, motion for emergency relief filed. And for petition of writ of mandamus filed, and retention time case file will be retained. And for the disposition there, instead of saying strike, it says destroy. I don't know what that means. In family court terms anyway. Order entered, motion or writ denied. On 7/29/2021, the order was entered where the motion or writ was denied. And 7/29/2021, the memorandum opinion issued, motion or writ denied. So Michael Long being the relator and Kelly being the real party in interest. So let me do something else here. All right. So one of the things that that Michael filed for was a writ of mandamus, was to replace Judge Snipes from the case, because he feels that Judge Snipes and Recusal law confirmed this, that there were a lot of discrepancies in how this case has been handled. So Recusal law, Nick Recusal, he was saying, I remember him saying that he believed that this was that this was valid to a certain degree. He saw a lot of things that the judge did. Now, I don't remember him saying whether or not he was going to get this. He was just explaining what it meant. And so he saw that Judge Snipes had made a lot of mistakes. And he was not the only person that I heard say that's very well versed in family law. And so one of those things being that Kelly's attorneys subpoenaed Sophie without a custodial parent added to the subpoena. You would have to do that, supposedly. I don't know how much. I don't know into detail what that is, but what I'm saying is Kelly's attorneys did something wrong, which supposedly gave Michael the right to file the writ of mandamus. It gave him it made that valid. So what it says here, this is the memorandum opinion. So this goes to a judge named Smith, because obviously it's not going to be Snipes' decision of whether he's going to be recused from the case, if he's going to be removed from the case. So this is the opinion of Justice Smith saying, in this petition for writ of mandamus, relator challenges the trial judge's temporary orders in the underlying suit against the parent-child relationship. And those orders being all the stuff that's been said on all these channels, saying that he has to give her up. He's saying that he is a danger to Sophie, physical and emotional danger, saying that he failed a psychological exam, that the psychological exam determined that he's a danger to Sophie, and that Sophie is a victim of alienation, according to the amicus attorney. As Michael being the abuser, for lack of a better term here. So so it says here, in this petition for writ of mandamus, relator challenges the trial judge's temporary orders in the underlying suit. And I want to continue actually real quick. He also ordered that Sophie go to a neutral third party environment, that being Kelly's sister, and that neutral third party environment being Kelly's sister. Well, Michael obviously doesn't like that, I'm assuming, because he believes that Kelly would still have access to her, and he believes Kelly to be a direct danger to her. So he's fighting this as much as he can. And the purpose of this is Sophie is adamant about not wanting to be with her mom. She's kicking and screaming, and she's seems absolutely terrified. And And I believe that she's absolutely terrified of going to her mom's. Now, why? I don't know. But I mean, why make up that story? But we do have a judge's order that was that Michael disputed, and his dispute was shot down. So this is a problem for Michael. This is a big problem, because remember, Kelly, what she's going to try to do, and what this hearing on the 4th is going to determine, is whether or not Michael faces jail time for all of this stuff. So in the petition for the writ of mandamus, relator challenges the trial judge's temporary orders in the underlying suit against the parent-child relationship, and the order denying relator's motion to recuse the trial judge from the modification proceeding. Entitlement to mandamus relief requires relator to show that the trial court has clearly abused its discretion, and that relator has no adequate appellate I don't know that word appellate remedy. And then it says basically what the Texas law that they're using there. And after reviewing the petition and record, we conclude that relator has failed to show an abuse of discretion. Accordingly, we deny mandamus relief. So that's it. If I'm reading that correctly, that's it. That's it for Michael. Because that's been denied. That was his one chance. That was the one thing that he had to bring to the table in the hearing on the 4th. The only thing that I see that Michael has to bring to the table in the hearing on the 4th is Sophie. That's what I'm seeing at this point. Because if they're making all these decisions not in his favor, and I wonder if Michael actually if he had an attorney, and if he had an attorney and he had an attorney to advise him as to how to handle this and how to submit these things properly, I wonder if that would have helped him. That makes me extremely curious. I wonder if that would have helped him. And I'm somewhat impressed with him doing it on his own, but the way that he went about it, I'm not impressed at all. The way that the decisions that he made surrounding this, filing this writ of mandamus, the decisions that he made surrounding this, I can't get behind. I never could. But, well, Ivan the Great, I mean, you're saying if he had an attorney, he wouldn't be in this situation right now. He had an attorney. He ran out of money. I mean, attorneys can't work for free, man. You know what I mean? Like, they can't. And if they can work for free, they can only do it for so long. And the big issue here is any attorney that takes on Michael, they're not just fighting Kelly, right? They're not just fighting Kelly and her attorneys. Apparently, supposedly, they're fighting the entire system. Michael needs a team of lawyers to pull this off. In theory. I don't know. But what I'm looking at, and the way that I've seen this unfold this entire time, is in order for Michael to stand a prayer legally against everything that he's going up against, everything that he's challenging, police departments, judges. I mean, dude, he needs a team of attorneys, and good ones. Kitten, I heard that too, but I can tell you right now that I don't think that is currently the case. And I don't think it's as cut and dry as Texas being for the mom. Yeah, is it more of a mom-friendly thing? Yeah, sure. But if things were being done you know, if things were being done and decisions being made where people were clearly doing things where it merited grounds for contempt of court, and now all of a sudden, and now hold on though, let's pump the brakes though for a second, because we're not even at the 4th yet. This is only the 31st, people. Okay, we got 5 days. We got 5 days before that hearing. So now, I don't know. Like, it's possible, maybe, I don't know, but maybe Michael could pull a rabbit out of a hat. I don't know. Legally speaking, of course. But also, it's 5 days away, meaning we still don't know what's going to happen when that hearing starts. We don't know if that judge is going to hold Michael in contempt. I'm saying it looks that way, considering seeing as now he's going to have to show up. The only chance, I would think, in theory, the only chance that Michael Long has to not be held in contempt of court is to show up to court with Sophie. To show up to that hearing with Sophie. And let's just hope that he does that. I mean, I can't think of any other way to put it. I honestly can't think of any other way to put it. Oh, and an interesting thing happened, right? An interesting thing happened to me. I remember I was shopping. So my ex is slick. Okay. She's, I used to, like, hey, this is going back to my custody fight that I used to have for my son that I had. And my ex, I got to give it to her. The thing I used to say about her is she was the smartest idiot I ever met. Because I mean, she will get to digging. She's a digger. You know what I mean? She could play chess, but the problem is she's really emotional and she's really delusional, not self-aware in the slightest bit, and that's her downfall. That's why it was easy to just top her and keep my son safe. But what she ended up doing something very interesting. I saw a comment talking about financial aid, right? There's obviously programs for people who need attorneys but can't afford attorneys, right? Considering the circumstances, they'll take you on. Considering your income, they'll take you on, right? I fit that bill. What happened was, it was very, very interesting. So I was in Georgia, right? And my plan was always to file for custody of my son. I was just trying to get everything together and be sure that I could afford a lawyer and do it right. And so I go to file. I start calling these financial aid, for lack of a better term, for a lawyer that I could afford, with my very low income at the time. And I'm talking to everyone that I talked to. They told me that I approved for it, and then they gave me a list of attorneys to talk to, and to get a consultation from them. Right, this is fascinating, guys. To get a consultation from them, or in order to hire them, get one of them to take my case, they gave me a list of lawyers that I could call that belong to this program. So I called a bunch of them. And each one of them, whenever they got on the phone with me, they would ask me my name, they would ask me my son's name, and then boom, I was like flagged. Because what happened was my ex beat me to it and called all these Georgia attorneys and got consultations from them. And even a free consultation, once they get that consultation from somebody, if the opposite party goes to them, it's a conflict of interest. I can't employ them. I can't hire them. I can't get it. I can't do anything because they consulted her. So they all refused me, right? Let's see, Kit Kat Mama. Would there be a way to have a panel discussion with someone who is versed in Texas law, not case specifics, just to get more clarification? I would love that. I would love that. I would invite anybody up who is well versed in Texas law. But yeah, so this was very, very interesting. So I was like, wow, well played. I didn't know what I was going to do. But then she slipped, right? She slipped and went to an attorney in California. And then what ended up happening was she went and got an attorney, but for some reason I called a different financial aid. They had multiple programs, I guess, and I called one, and then I got approved, and then I got an attorney. And she didn't even have jurisdiction, which I explained in another live before. She didn't even have jurisdiction, right? So, and I was like, where'd you get your law degree? Out of a cereal box? You're crazy, blah, blah, blah. I went off on this lady. And then the next thing you know, once I get this lawyer, this attorney ends up showing to an ex parte hearing that he calls, and then her attorney recuses herself from the case. So now I got an attorney, she doesn't, because she tried to play dirty, because she didn't have jurisdiction. She gambled on the likelihood that I wasn't going to be able to get an attorney. She thought that she fixed the whole attorney situation, and just didn't think it through properly. But she went and got an attorney, counting on me not having one, was like, okay, well, they're not going to know how to present that evidence to the judge. He's not even going to know how to be able to present the fact that it's not a jurisdictional issue. The judge might do it, but probably not. So I couldn't present any evidence because I didn't know how. You have to know how. So that's why I give a little kudos to Michael, because he was able to file these things, because I would have never known to do that if I didn't have an attorney. I would have never known to do that. So I'm guessing that he probably had somebody in his ear telling him what to do. Now, the whole thing is, at this point, I mean, Michael, I don't feel like he has any more options. I think the only option that he has at this point is to bring Sophie to that hearing. And that's it. And hope, or at least have something else to file, something, anything. But yeah, I mean, the fact is everything that he filed. What's possible here? Here's another little tidbit. So I'm not sure, but I think I remember reading something that he had until today to submit something. I'm guessing that would be the proof, or, his argument that Judge Snipes had made some bad decisions. He had until today to do that. Today was when this stuff was filed. So today was when his writ of mandamus was just denied. So I'm wondering if he just failed to bring in, because he had a deadline today to file something. And if I had to guess what that something was, it would probably be a valid reason as to how Judge Snipes made bad decisions and unfair decisions, and good reason to have Judge Snipes step down from the case. Apparently, whatever he did or didn't do caused that Judge Smith to come to the decision that it's a failure. He failed to do so. Whether he failed to even bring the evidence at all, or whether he failed to give sufficient evidence. Ivan the Great, I'm not going to deny that either. I mean, one could argue, what do you expect? I mean, if his allegations are true, that the entire system in Collin County is corrupt, just totally, just, you know, it's good old boy crap going on there, then, you know, what do you expect? I mean, is that a big shocker? You know, so I mean, but what's he gonna do now? Because here's the thing: is I can understand. I'm not gonna say get behind. That's too strong. That's too strong. But I can understand him doing what he's been doing, and just playing keep away. That's the game. Play keep away, you know, but using the law, using little loopholes in the law to do it, right? So I can understand him doing that. And he's pulled it off so far. I'm just saying I don't see any more options. I just don't see any more options. Because the thing is the whole missing thing, lest we forget, folks, the whole missing thing was conjured up by by Courtney, and then it like got a spin on it from Kelly's PR team. I mean, is it coincidence? Come on, is it coincidence that Jake's making statements, Kelly's attorneys are making statements to these trash tabloid news people? It's a target demographic. You know why they chose those forms of media? You know why Kelly's PR team? I don't even need to go to college to do what this person's doing. I already got this person figured out. You know what I'm saying? I would have to go to college to become a lawyer. I don't have to go to college to make somebody look good in the public. You know what I'm saying? Like what she's doing right now, she's trying to twist all of this, and she's trying to twist all of you. Because guess what? The people in the true crime community, exactly. Now, I wouldn't have put it as harshly. Maybe I would. There are times, I have days. But there was a day where Nick Rekieta described true crime fans. And I don't disagree with him. My big issue, and I've been saying it forever since I started this channel, is true crime has become a genre. It's become a genre. It's become entertainment. Somebody's tragedy has become your entertainment. And everybody looks at these people like they're characters in a Lifetime movie. Because guess what? Lifetime keeps making movies about these real people. You understand what I'm saying? So when you got, and I'm hooked on ID channel. I've been watching ID channel like for days. Like if one show after the other of some murder case that took place between in a domestic situation. It's addictive. You know what I'm saying? It's addictive because the cops go into all the forensic and stuff. You know what I mean? And how they got the evidence, and it's addicting. I get it. You know, but the problem is I don't forget that those are real people. I don't forget that. And you can't say that I do. Those of you who have been following my channel for a while, you can't say that I do. It's that simple. So when you have a target demographic, right? What is a PR person going to do? If they're trying to reach a certain type of person, which I believe they're trying to reach the YouTube crowd, the people that are specifically following this case. What are the people who are specifically following this case, the Sophie Long case? What are they reading? They're reading tabloids, most likely. Or else why the hell would they be interested in somebody's personal life the way that they are? Because this stopped being about Sophie and SA a long time ago. Let's be honest, people. This stopped being about Sophie and SA a long time ago. That's when me and other creators just dropped it and stopped talking about it. The only reason I started talking about it is because I talk about missing kids on this channel. And then some asshole decided to go live and start spinning a missing persons thing and using the issue of missing persons in our society, using that very serious issue to manipulate an audience for clicks, views, super chats, memberships, and subscribers. And that person is Katie Joy. And the other person who did the same thing, Critical K. Absolutely, 100%. No doubt about it. And so, considering myself to be as much of a responsible YouTuber as I could possibly be, someone who takes pride in doing the best he can to be as responsible of a YouTuber as he can possibly be, I decided to discredit these creators again. Because people, Sophie has not yet been missing in the way that these missing kids that we talk about have been missing. Anybody can file a missing persons report, dude. Anybody can. And it's not a coincidence that KJ admitted that Courtney was her source for information. It's not a coincidence that the same information that KJ was spewing out before there was even a missing persons poster, before she was even filed as missing and reported as missing, it's not a coincidence that everything that's in that missing persons report in detail, almost verbatim, in that missing persons poster is the stuff that KJ was saying Courtney was telling her. That's not a coincidence. I don't care what you say. That's not a coincidence. And it's also not a coincidence that Kelly's PR team picks up on this and they say, this is great. People are thinking that Sophie's missing. And you've got this YouTuber over here who talks about reality shows and this YouTuber over here that was calling Sophie a brat for months and a liar. They're up here villainizing Michael. We can use this. We can absolutely use this. And I'm going to start sending threatening emails to every creator that even remotely seems like they might be even in support of Michael. I'm going to just slap them with threats. Stamp my law firm's little stamp on there. You guys who are obsessed and wouldn't stop talking about the custody stuff and the underwear and the affairs, you all that couldn't stop talking about this crap, you guys are who Kelly's PR team targeted. It's smart for a PR team to target a demographic. And so they're going to say, oh, well, this is news because people like you think that tabloid stuff is news. That's the truth. You guys take that as news. Oh, my God, it's in the Daily Mail. The Daily Mail? Nancy Grace's channel said something about it. Nancy Grace's site. Nancy Grace? Really? Like, are you serious right now? It's all of those publications, debatably Fox News, but all the other ones, tabloid asswipes. That's it. I never, ever, when it comes to a true crime case, I remember these channels were going crazy. All of these tabloid news outlets were going crazy with Chris Watts. And it was all rumor, talking about Chris being gay and having an affair with some dude. Like, none of that panned out. None of it was relevant to the case. Was it some dude named Troy or something like that? I can't even remember. But I remember this. I remember watching, like, somebody would be like, oh, look what the news said. I'm like, that's not a news source, bro. Show me a Colorado local news source. I'll take that. A local news source from Colorado. I'll take that. But I dismissed everything that wasn't legitimate news. And everything was dead silent for like ever when it came to the Chris Watts case. Everything was dead silence except for the tabloids. That's what went on here. No real major news source picked this up. And if I had to guess, Kelly's PR team had a buddy at Fox News. That's what a PR team does. They make friends. That's what they do. They make connections. They make moves, dude. Right? You can tell me a PR team doesn't have certain news outlets in their pocket? Come on, man. That's what they do. That's their job. That's what you pay them for, to have those connects. I don't want a PR team that doesn't have connects. Do you? Come on, man. Got to use your eyes, people. Got to use your eyes. I'm telling you, man. Like, that's all this is now. It's a big show. It's a big show. Now Michael's probably going to have to go to jail. I mean, am I happy about that? Do I think that he deserves to go to jail if he coached Sophie? Yeah, absolutely. I do. Sure. Don't deny that. But I'm not ready to say that I believe that he did that. I'm not even ready to say that I believe that what happened, what Sophie's accusing Kelly of and Jake of is the truth. I'm saying I believe that she's terrified of going to that environment for something. Whatever it is, she's terrified. But I'm leaning more that way than alienation. You know what I'm saying? Never seen a child that terrified of going into the environment that their mother provides for them. A 9-year-old girl? No, dude. Nah, I'm not buying that, dude. I'm not buying that. I mean, a lot of belief. There's no doubt that the courts did mess up. There's no doubt. They definitely made mistakes. And I still want to know, that's not off the hook yet. I still want to know how a recording of a private phone call between Michael Long and that amicus attorney got to Critical K. That's what I want to know. How'd that happen? No, we don't all have to be pro ML, dude. We all have to be pro Sophie, and that is it. All right. But the problem is, it's just not this. Again, people, this isn't a movie, dude. This isn't a movie where the good guys always win. Sometimes the good guys and the bad guys lose. Sometimes the bad guys win. Sometimes you never get to find out who the bad guy really was. And that might just be the case here. That might just be the case here. Yeah, like if y'all are arguing in the chat now, how pointless is that? Like, that's just silly. That's silly. Y'all should know better. I mean, dude, you can't just take off like that, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, legally speaking, he could have at the time. Now is what matters. The 4th is what matters. That's the day, people. That's the day. August 4th, Wednesday, August 4th, 2021. That is the day that matters. The day that determines whether or not Michael is dangerous and breaking the law. But seeing as everything that was denied, guess what still stands, people? That original court order that the writ of mandamus existed to dispute. So that original court order made by Judge Snipes, all that stuff, going down the list, it all applies. Whether we like it or not, it all applies. Now, I'm guessing, and I could be wrong, it could happen Monday. Stranger things have happened. It could happen tomorrow or Sunday. I got out of jail on a Sunday because of a I didn't pay a jaywalking ticket. The only thing you would ever find on my record, and that's not even on there, because a judge came down to the jail on a Sunday, if you can believe that. Judge came down to the jail on a Sunday and was like, Jesus, get him out of here right now. But that was a criminal thing. I don't know about family court. It's probably strictly Monday through Friday. Dude, if I emailed my lawyer at 7 p.m., I wouldn't hear from him until 9 a.m. the next day, hopefully. Sometimes not till like 3 p.m., 6 p.m. I absolutely do. I don't see what other options he has. Of course, I believe that he should just turn her over, Louisiana girl. At this point, yeah. I mean, because let's face it, we're not talking about, okay, dude, guys, this isn't a movie, dude. Okay, this isn't some Liam Neeson movie where he's just fighting for the good, and I'm going to protect my daughter at all costs, and he's kicking everybody's butt in the meantime. That's not what this is, dude. Okay, this is a dude who, if the court says, hey, this guy's got a warrant out and he's got a child and the court has deemed him dangerous to her, well, then, yeah, he needs to turn her in. He needs to turn her over. Absolutely. Because if the police, law enforcement goes by this court order saying that he is a danger, well, guess what? Then he's a danger. As far as law enforcement is concerned, he's a danger. And then guess what? That puts Sophie in danger because the cops are going to treat him like a dude with a hostage. You know what I'm saying? This is the reality of things. And Michael Long is no Chuck Norris. You know what I'm saying? Like, this isn't a Rambo movie. This dude needs to just put this child where the court is telling them to put her, because now if they got law enforcement as, you know, let's just say the court is evil, right? Let's say the court is evil, but the court got their way. Doesn't matter. And if the court is evil, now law enforcement's going to be their henchmen. It's going to be their little hench army. You understand what I'm saying? Whether we like it or not, that's the reality of where this is going. Either way, that puts Sophie in more danger. So, yeah. That's an easy answer to that question. Do I think that he should just turn her over? Absolutely. Because I don't see. What's up, Jinxie? Jinxie. What's up, buddy? Cat's hiding behind the pillow. Yeah. I mean, I just don't see I don't see any way around it. I don't see how, you know. Now, that's the thing, is I wish that I could say right away, do I think that he will just turn her over? I wish I could say, yeah, he's a smart guy, you know, sure. Is he a smart guy? Yeah. But is he capable of being irrational? Has he said that he would do anything, whatever it took to protect his daughter? Yeah, he has. Yeah, he has. But unfortunately, the reality of this is, if he goes on the lam and there's a warrant out for him and he's considered dangerous by LE, and God forbid an Amber Alert goes out for Sophie, well, at that point, dude, you're not protecting her. She's in danger. You're not protecting her. because you can't match that. You can't match that. Can't take on an entire police force. What are you doing? So I don't know. So I don't think, I'd like to think that if he takes that into consideration, that yeah, he's just going to do the very easy, simple thing and just turn her over. Absolutely. I mean, I think he's capable of that kind of rationality for sure. Right. Tara K, you're right there. ML is damned if he does and damned if he doesn't in this situation. He doesn't show up with her, probably turns criminal. If he does show up with her, he may never see his daughter again. Right. That's absolutely true. I mean, but the logical and rational thing to do here, is simply turn her over and then start making plans. Get back to work. Start from scratch. Do what you got to do. That's the logical thing to do. I mean, I can't see any way around that. Like, yeah, I mean, I don't personally believe, my personal opinion, I don't personally believe that Michael is a direct danger to Sophie while he's within the boundaries of the law. But if he's outside of the law, then that makes him a danger to Sophie. That's my personal opinion. Dizzy Lizzy, yeah. I mean, I'm not going to get too deep into that, but not just the boys that are already with Kelly. Not just the boys, but there's also the little one with Courtney. And that's another fight that he's going through as it is. It just breaks my heart, man, because whatever happened between the two of them, somebody hurt the other one. And I have my opinions on who did who wrong. The evidence all points that way, which is why we were like, dude, because we saw this coming. That's a fact. I dropped this because I was like, because his actions led to this. Let's face it. He behaved irresponsibly. He and then the next thing you know, the person, his greatest ally in this fight, they split up. And not only is she out to just not want anything to do with him, she's out to hurt him now. Otherwise, she wouldn't be feeding KJ all that crap. She's out to hurt him now. All because he needed a what do you call it? A social media manager or something like that. I'm still hiring for that, by the way, guys. Send pics. I'm kidding. Joking. No, I'm not still sick, Cherry K. I went to the gym twice today, and I wore myself out. And I guess I'm feeling kind of, but maybe I made myself sick again by doing that. I mean, but yeah, if he hadn't done that, I mean, I don't know. I don't know the exact circumstances of what happened. I don't like talking about that. That's none of my business. You know what I'm saying? Two of them, they split up. It's all we need to know. She was the best thing that he had in his fight for Sophie. And that made those of us that were supportive of what he was doing really question his credibility at that point, to a point to where we just could not associate with him anymore. It was just that simple. That was it. That was it. We were like, you lost credibility. If you lost credibility with us, you're going to lose credibility with the court. And you lost and you screwed up the one thing with the one person who was your best ally in this. Like, who knows if she was still with him, if Courtney and Michael were still together, who knows where this would be right now? Who knows how big of a help she could have been to him? You know, how big of a help she could be to Sophie. Look at how big of a help she was to Sophie this whole time. I mean, there's no denying that. I don't care what you feel about Courtney, you know, whatever your personal feelings are about her, you can't deny the fact that, and I was there, I saw it. I talked to these people, man. I saw it. I know all that she did for Sophie. Courtney did a shit ton for Sophie, man. Lily Ramsey says, 90% of the time I'm a lurker listening while I do other things. Just wanted to say I enjoy your streams. Well, I'm glad you do, man. Thank you so much. That means a lot. Oh, King, what happens to a couple's relationship should not be allowed to affect how you're viewed as a parent, as long as your issues aren't related to a child. But look what happened, though. Look what happened, though. Because his best asset, his one rock. I mean, he was married to Courtney. He's married to Courtney. They're separated now in the middle of a divorce. But he's make no mistake, he's married to her. And when you marry somebody, you promise yourself to them, man. You promise to take on what is best, what is most important to them, make it most important to you. That's the overlaying promise of marriage. I would assume. I've never been married. But I'm guessing that's the case, right? What's yours is mine, what's mine is yours, including your burdens, right? I mean, isn't that the key factor to a functional marriage? Where you guys are living for each other? But bottom line is, that's what Courtney was doing. I saw it. I don't know what happened behind the scenes, but when it came to the fight for Sophie, it was absolutely a priority for her. A major, huge priority. Michael's kids were her priority. I saw it. I don't care what anybody's opinions are in the chat. I'm telling you, I saw it with my own eyes for months. So, but now she's his biggest enemy. How do you think that affects Sophie's outcome? So, saying I don't blame her for being mad. I blame Michael for screwing it up. But I'm also not going to let that make me sit here and be like, whoa, you know, everything that Courtney's saying is true. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to sit here and act like, you know, I mean, let's call a spade here, people. The fact of the matter is that she's the one that was feeding Katie Joy all that information. And her only motive for feeding Katie Joy all that information and going the opposite way that she was going with Sophie prior is because of what's going on between her and Michael. A scorned woman. Rightfully scorned? Yeah. But scorned nevertheless. Laundry, love in the laundry, Dawn. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, that's, guys, We're no strangers to being helpless in this community. We're no strangers to that. Brittany Cleveland, she's got it figured out. That's all you can do. That is literally at this point all you can do. Hell, that's all you could really do before. You know? I mean, neither one of these parents seem to be acting in this child's best interests. Neither one of them. Neither one of them have any intention of having any. I mean, why the jail time? You know, that gets to be. I'm going to be a liar if I don't say that. Why the jail time? Why the extra, you know? Where's the, hey, I just want my daughter, you know, and whatever. You know what I mean? Court made this decision, cool. But why the jail time? You know what I'm saying? I mean, that just seems like an extra twist, you know? Because there's really no evidence that he was in any way abusive towards her. L House, how crazy would this be if every one of them, ML, KC, and KL, are playing us all, just playing devil's advocate? I mean, it's a legal case. You know what I'm saying? Like, these lawyers cost money. You know what I'm saying? Like, playing us all for what? That doesn't make sense. Playing us all for what? What would they be playing us all for? I mean, I think they're all just, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I think every single adult in this child's situation is completely screwed in the head. Seriously. I think there's drugs involved. I mean, these are just a bunch of childish adults slinging mud at each other, trying to hurt each other, and using the kids to hurt each other. That's all that's happening here. That's literally what it boils down to. That's all that's happening here. It's just a bunch of adults that are in a position now where it's gotten so deep that not everything they're doing is a child being used as a weapon against the other. Literally every action at this point is what's going on. Nobody's making decisions based on Sophie's well-being. Nobody is. Going on the lam, that's not one way. You know what I'm saying? Starting a PR firm and then getting a whole bunch of people riled up to act like she's missing and she's in danger when she wasn't. Having a PR firm throw threats at people. That's not acting in Sophie's best interest. That's just you trying to hurt the other person. That's all that is. Trying to start a hate campaign against the other person. That's all you're doing. That doesn't help this child. Ashley, yes, I can't disagree with you, man. Can't disagree with you. My personal opinion, Sophie should just be put in foster care. Because clearly what we've seen evidence of is that every parent is fucked up. That's my personal opinion. At this point, Sophie should be placed in foster care, in a loving foster home. Picking my wedgies. Welcome. Laura Smith. I think Kelly should be in contempt of court as well for violating the court order by allowing the boys to see Jake. I agree. This isn't just some dude that was just like causing problems. You know what I'm saying? This is a dude that was accused of SA. You know what I'm saying? Like, that court order was designed to be a safety precaution. And that safety precaution was violated by Kelly. But Michael's dangerous. You know what I mean? She'll violate that order, but she won't violate a gag order to beg for her child's safety, to beg for her child's safe return. Explain that one to me. You'll violate that court order. You couldn't violate that court order. You could violate the court order where Jake's around these kids, but you can't violate a gag order to beg for your children's safe return, Kelly. Get real. Come on, man. You're not fooling anybody. You got to use your eyes, people. Look at the actions. Look at the actions. All these people are messed up. Every one of these people is messed up. I don't care what you say. Well, I don't know. Hold on. Ashley, I said, I don't think this judge knows what contempt means. We'll see. We'll see this coming week. I mean, but as it stands, people, as it stands, that's the order. As it stands, my man was rejected, dude. I mean, it's all right here. Welcome, Jessica Moon. I mean, so hopefully, I mean, look, man, at this point, there's nothing to argue about. The facts are there, okay? There's nothing to argue about. You're not going to see me engage with people about should Michael get jail time, shouldn't he get jail time, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to do that. That's not going to happen for me, guys. And you're going to hear all these other trash channels get into it. I guarantee you that's going to happen. But the fact is this is it, guys. This is all we need to know. All we need to know is what's going to happen. All we have left to know is what's going to happen on the 4th. It's all we got left to know. What's going to happen on the 4th? What's Snipes going to do? What's Michael going to do? That's what it all boils down to. But at least we know where it's at. We know where it's at. And again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm just explaining to you how I see what that says. And I'm curious as to see what his I'm curious to see what the outcome's going to be. What is Michael going to do? Because what Snipes does, let's face it here, what Snipes does very much depends on what Michael does. Right? Whatever Snipes does all depends on what Michael does, because, I mean, he's got to come in hat in hand. That's his only shot. Come in there hat in hand, Sophie holding her hand, and say, what can I do? What are my options moving forward? What can I do? Well, I'm not quick to say that. Do I think possibly? Yeah. I mean, there's a motion for that. So, but it doesn't mean that the judge is going to grant that motion. You know what I mean? I think he has a chance. Personally, I don't know. But I like to think that he has a chance if he goes you know, like I said, hat in hand to that hearing with Sophie. That's what I believe. L House, I couldn't agree with you more. I couldn't agree with you more. He's definitely going to get scolded by the judge. That's for sure. He's definitely going to get scolded by the judge. Yeah, I mean, I do believe enough's enough. You know, I do believe. Sorry, just checking my Wi-Fi. I was getting a low signal there. I know people that are involved in this case that are just like, I'm exhausted. I'm tired. Hell, I'm tired of Michael's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? These are people that support Sophie. Never stopped. Won't stop. I know this for a fact. You know, we all got deeply involved in this, man. I was very, very deeply involved in this. And I don't regret 1 second of it, if I'm being totally honest. I don't regret 1 second of it. I know I was doing everything that my heart was telling me I should be doing. And I don't regret that for a second. And I mean, and I wasn't doing it for clicks and views. I wasn't doing it for money. I wasn't even monetized. Like I got the very rare occasional PayPal donation, but most of those were from actually covering cases like the Gannon stock case, you know. When it came to this stuff, like it was just something my heart was completely in. It still is. Otherwise, I wouldn't be sitting up here talking about it. But I'm also a realist where I understand. I just don't see where this can go other than the way that I just looked at it. Let's see, it says, Will, because he's not complying with the new court order, they cannot grant any motions in his favor. Even if he shows up, his actions will take precedence from his reasoning for Sophie. I don't know about all that, man. That doesn't sound right. Unless you're an attorney, I'm not going to take your word for that. Yeah, I haven't heard anybody else say that. All this time we've been talking, I haven't heard anybody else say that. He has to comply first. I mean, no. Well, does it maybe make him look better to the judge? Sure, probably. But does he have to legally? I don't know about that. If the thing's filed, then that puts the decision on hold. At least that's how I understand it. I could be wrong. But this is what we've been talking about this whole time. This is a stalling game. This is a stalling game. So I haven't heard one attorney say that if he complied first, you know, he has to comply first. I don't. Yeah, okay, great. They're in school for law. Doesn't mean that they're right. I mean, and I'm sure it depends on the state too. You know, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying this is the first time I've heard it. And this whole thing has been based on whether or not he was what he was doing was technically legal, because what he was doing was technically legal. Otherwise, there would have been a warrant out issued for his arrest. So I'm just saying that the actions, what's taken place here so far, does not align with what you're saying in my chat right now. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying you're wrong, but it's just, this is the first time this is coming up. This entire time we've been talking about it for like a week and a half. Right. Exactly. Hey girl, hey. Yeah. That's how I'm taking that anyway. That's how I'm taking that. Let me see. The glare, having won your fight in custody, what did the uncertainty feel like for you at first? If you don't mind me asking. No, that's a great question. Until I got an attorney, I was uncertain. Until I got an attorney, because it just rang in my head when I got that one consultation from an attorney and they said, you don't know how to present evidence. That's why you need an attorney. Like, you could have all the evidence in the world, which I did. And I felt confident then. But when he told me that and I didn't have an attorney, I was like, that's scary, because I mean, what a nightmare. What a nightmare that I could have like a file folder under my arm full of emails and text messages and screenshots and pictures, and all I got to do is show this to the judge, and for the judge to go, okay, she's messed up, he belongs with dad. That's simple, right? But it's not that simple. You have to file things. You have to petition things. I don't know how to do that. I'm not an attorney. You know what I mean? Sure, I could probably find out, but I have like the worst learning disability in the world. I'm ADHD like hell. I read, as far as fiction goes and nonfiction books, I can comprehend just fine. Legal jargon, no, not very well. That's why I always give these disclaimers when I go over this stuff, because I'm just like, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know how to read this stuff. So yeah, I agree with you there, Louisiana girl. Yeah, that's why Michael should just do the right thing. King Duck, let's see what you're saying here. Mandamus is almost impossible to win. A regular appeal after final trial in a few months with an attorney gives him a shot. But honestly, ML and KL are both bad. Yeah. I mean, this whole situation is just a big, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. Yeah. So Road King, yeah, to answer your question, I just, once I finally got an attorney, then I felt like invincible. I was like, there's no way. I mean, I was in the right, And what was funny was it wasn't even me. It was my son. He was already old enough. Son was 15 years old. He knew where he wanted to be. He knew the difference between right and wrong. He knew how he was being treated was wrong as opposed to right. And he made his decision. So I did what I had to do to fight for him. It's just that simple. The glare, did it ever cross your mind to say, F it, I'm doing it my way before the attorney advised? No. Attorneys are too expensive for you to do that. That's the best answer I could give to that question. You pay for an attorney for a reason. You pay a lot of money for an attorney for a reason. And that is to do exactly what they tell you to do. That lawyer is there to advise you to win. That is what whatever you do is how you do it. Whatever they tell you how to do is how you do it. I mean, you're paying too much. You know what I'm saying? Like, the advice is too valuable. It's Indiana Jones stuff. They give you advice and you're like, okay, I'm going to do this to a T. And I'm sure there's a lot of people who don't. I'm sure there's a lot of stupid people that don't realize this. But because I guarantee you, I guarantee you, see, Michael doesn't have an attorney right now, but I guarantee you Kelly's attorney told her, don't bring the kids around Jake. I guarantee you she did that. Or he did that. I guarantee you her attorney said that. Don't ever bring those kids around Jake. Worst thing you could do. And yet somehow it turned out okay. Figure that out. What are you talking about? He didn't fire his lawyers. You ran out of money. We went over this on this channel months ago. I don't know. I don't know how you can do that. I don't know how you can do. I don't know. That's a Ricada law question right there. What are his options afterwards? That's something I would love to hear from him. That's something I would absolutely love to hear from Ricada law. Is what are going to be Michael's options after this? Let's say he walks into there. Let's say the worst possible scenario, right? He walks in there with Sophie, and well, that's not the worst possible scenario. The worst possible scenario is he runs and then they catch him, and then they gotta pin him down and cuff him and throw him in the back of a car. That's the worst scenario. But let's say that he walks into the courthouse with Sophie Wednesday. Okay. And then the judge takes Sophie, puts her in the custody of the aunt, and then puts her in the custody of the aunt, and then they throw him in jail for the time recommended that he goes to jail, right? He's got charges, now he's got a record, right? Which I'm pretty sure is probably the strategy. If I had to justify Kelly's actions in recommending that he go to jail, I'd say it's because they want a record. They want him to have a record. If he comes back trying to get Sophie and trying to get custody of Sophie, now he's got a record. Now everything that took place in this is going to be evidence in that. So it's going to just all look bad on him. So, I mean, that's probably her strategy. But I would love to ask Nick if let's say all that happens and he goes to jail and everything, what are his options after that? You know what I mean? Oh, this is your first live here. Azaria Sin. Welcome. It's good to see you. I mean, okay. That's a fair statement, right? It's a fair statement, but it also deserves a fair rebuttal. ML stuck between two scorned women, FB and him. That's a fair statement. It's a fair statement, but it deserves a fair rebuttal. Who scorned those women? You know what I'm saying? Like, what did he do? Like, let's just be fair. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. I agree with that. I agree with that statement, but let's be fair. Like, how'd they get scorned? And that's another thing. Casey's playing chess, man. She's got her own fight coming up. She's got her own custody thing coming up with her child with Michael, right? So why wouldn't she try to facilitate this to go as bad for him as possible? That, again, this is going to look bad. This is going to be evidence used in their custody fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's just being smart is what she's doing. She's playing chess. Let's see. Azaria Sin. I'm going to highlight your comment because you knew. I want to see what you got to say. This is genuinely the most depressing, conflicted case I've ever seen. Can someone clarify something with me? There's something that's bugging me about the whole Sophie was coached thing. Okay, so what's bugging you? What is on your mind, child? What ails you, my child? I feel like that's from something, and I don't have any idea what that's from. What ails you, my child? What is that from? I don't know what that's from. I don't have any idea. I just know I've heard it, and I feel like I've heard it 100 times. Let's see. I could have sworn I've read somewhere that there were signs of trauma during the beginning of the case. I think I've heard Nick talk about it. There were. It's just the court didn't acknowledge it. Like, I saw the stuff myself. I saw it. We heard a phone call, dude. We heard a phone call from the sergeant of the county that they live in, the sheriff's department that was charged with the responsibility of getting to the bottom of Sophie's case, her SA claims, right? We saw that off-duty sergeant call outside of the jurisdiction because Michael and Courtney purposely took her to another county, to the hospital, to get an SA exam done, to get an NSA kit done, or a SANE exam, as it's called. And this officer called, this was recorded. He called the other cop that was at the hospital, trying to intercept the SANE exam from taking place, trying to literally obstruct evidence, trying to prevent evidence from being taken. And he claimed in the phone call that Michael had took Sophie for 9 different exams, and that is a bold lie. That didn't happen. So this officer lied. An off-duty officer called and lied. Why did he do that? And nobody's focused on this. But how is that not the most, the brain-itching thing in the world? What is the motive behind that officer doing that? No, and I'm not going to say what, because it was bleeped out of the recording, and then while these officers are on the phone with each other, the nurse comes and tells the officer in the hospital that they saw a certain type of, I don't want to get into it, but a sign of a VD. They saw signs of a VD. And yet we never, ever, ever got the results of that SANE exam. We still, to this day, have no idea what happened to the results of that SANE exam. Think about that. No, Zarius Sin, that's fine. If it's too difficult of a question, I won't answer it. It's that simple. Yeah, I agree with you. It is very aggravating that this poor girl is still being put through the ringer. But I mean, but this is it. You know what I'm saying? This is it. This is I think at this point, Michael's options. Now, maybe I mean, I'm not an attorney, guys. So maybe he still has other options until Wednesday. I don't know. I don't think so. The way that I see it, no. But I'm not an attorney. You know what I mean? So he might have other options. See Crystal saying hi to all my friends at once. As to Will, love y'all. I have to work early, so I'll be listening in the background. All right, Crystal. Well, thank you. Appreciate you. Yeah, I mean, you know, and Nick went over just the other night. He went over CPS report where there was DV going on, supposedly from Jake, and the boys witnessed. You know what I mean? And none of this stuff is being taken into consideration. I find that odd. I find that very odd that this stuff has not been taken into consideration by the court. You know, a lot of things happened that made us all upset. I mean, things got real personal, man. Like there were creators doxing people, and it just got really ugly. I got doxed. A bunch of people got doxed, man. Yeah, it just got super ugly, man. And it's all because people just weren't focused on the right thing. And the focus is just try to bring awareness. I had Siren Jag on here, and Siren Jag did this whole thing. He did all this research on on Texas when it came to laws, when it came to trafficking, and custody stuff too. And it was ugly, man. He uncovered some pretty ugly stuff. Oh, because CPS dropped the case, the court went with that. CPS dropped the ball. I mean, right. I did multiple streams on familial trafficking. You know, um, I was dedicated to this whole thing. Um, you know, as creators, that's the responsible thing to do, I believe, is to go over the problem. Whether you believe the child or not, that wasn't the issue. Like you hear these idiots mocking us going, believe the child. But you know, yeah, you do. You just do. And then you investigate. You investigate as though you believe the child until you find reason to not believe the child. That's how you protect children. That's how it's done properly. So yeah, believe the child. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, sitting there and playing with a rubber chicken and playing with a kazoo with a freaking tiara on your head, calling a kid a brat. And you don't even know the kid, I mean, it was just, that was a ridiculous show, and it wouldn't have mattered to me. It wouldn't have mattered to me if there wasn't hundreds of people in her chat at a time, like taking in that, like it made any sense at all. Well, let's face it here, Teresa Short. Let's face it here. I'm sorry to say it here. It says here the people who support Courtney should remember Sophie first. Don't abandon Sophie because of actions of adults. Yeah, I agree. I misread that at first, but I completely agree with that statement. Because I'm supportive of the things that Courtney has done up until now. That's just all that's all there is to that. I've always been supportive of Courtney, and I still give her respect for the things that she has done for Sophie. The bottom line is you can't dispute that she did so much for Sophie. She did great things. She really did. She really fought hard for Sophie on the front lines, even though the court didn't even recognize her as a parent. She could have just been like, the court says I ain't got nothing to do with this. I ain't got nothing to do with this. I'm here for you, babe. But she didn't do that. She fought for this child. And I give her credit for that. I always will. But I mean, on the other side of that coin is, how worth it is it? How much is that worth, considering the things that she's done in the last couple of weeks? Yo, what's up? Mr. Nut in the house. Just made my night, dude. Hey, do you want to come up here? If you want, I'll go for a while, man, if you want. We're talking about the Sophie thing. So he's probably going to be like, hell no, I'm just trying to get up there. All right. Well, right on, dude. Hold on. Let me pull you up. I'm going to send you a link on Twitter. Give me a second. Hope it's not going to make me sign on. Probably is. Oh, dang. Oh, wait. Google saves my passwords. Hell yeah. All right. Sent, brother. All right. So that's a bonus. Mr. Nut's going to be joining me tonight. A little breath of fresh air from the old days. It's always good to have that. Man, let me tell you something. It's cold up here by yourself. I'm not trying to lie. In this particular climate, this environment that we're talking about right now, it's a little cold up here. Let me see. I think I saw Todd Chrisley liking tweets of people calling KJ for her incompetency about the SL story. Probably, man. You know, dude, I would, man, I know it's a pipe dream. It's a pipe dream, dude. I know. But if anybody knows how to contact Todd Chrisley, let him know I want him on my channel. I'll just give him a free, just let him go off and talk about KJ all he wants. I would love to have that. Just where he doesn't have to compromise the integrity of his podcast so much. I'll give him 60 minutes to trash KJ on my channel. I'll give him a cool hour. I mean, he's earned it. Like, what about if these reality people get to hit back, dude? You know what I'm saying? Like, you got these people, you got like KJ that just trashes reality TV show stars, right? But they got to remain professional. They can't hit back. You know, they're not going to use their channel to do it. You know, he's even being nice and doing it on his podcast, right? But what if he got on a YouTube channel? Wasn't even his. He just got to go off. Anybody knows how to get a hold of Todd Chrisley, let him know I want him up here. That would be dope. My boy, what's up?
What up, man? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you good.
Perfect. I just figured out how to keep YouTube up and use the app at the same time on my phone so I could watch what people are saying.
Oh, right on. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Just busting butt, taking names.
Right on, right on. So are you privy to the developments in the Sophie case?
I haven't been on YouTube for about a week and a half, almost 2 weeks.
Wow. Okay. So
Twitter.
Okay. Yeah. So this whole, oh man, it would take me forever to explain this. So this basically, I'm going to try to do it in a nutshell here. So KJ goes live about 2 weeks ago. KJ goes live and she says, you know, high alert, Sophie's missing, Michael Long kidnapped her, blah, 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 blah.
I remember that.
Starts this whole thing, right? Okay. You know, then Kay goes live and does what she does, right? Basically just, you know, let's keep the content going, you know? And so now we've been following because it's been the dispute of, wait a minute, because we know KJ, we know that she's real big on spreading misinformation. So I came up here because I was privy to some information. I actually had people involved in the case that would give me some information. And so I had an idea of what was happening in the court and why Michael was doing what he was doing. I happened to prove that he doesn't have a warrant out for his arrest. There's no, oh yeah, we actually did talk about this. You were in my chat when I was talking about this one time. So you do remember that. So basically now at this point where it's at, okay, this is the point of the live tonight is the files, what he did, the things that he filed got rejected, right? The writ of mandamus that he filed is totally rejected. He tried to get the judge to recuse themselves. He motioned for the judge to have to step down and be replaced in the case because the court order said all this other stuff on the live that you were actually in chat for. And so now it's been rejected, but there's a hearing on the 4th, this coming Wednesday. And so now it's a question of what is Michael to do? And I'm of the opinion at this point, I don't see where he, you know, there's nothing else to do but bring Sophie back. You know, that's it. Because at this point, you know, he's facing contempt of court, possibly. And if he gets contempt of court, he's going to have a warrant. Sophie's probably going to get an Amber Alert. And things are going to get really, really out of hand when they don't need to be.
Yeah. So do they know where she is, though? She's with him naturally, right? But
I absolutely 100% believe that law enforcement knows where she is. They're just not enforcing anything because, again, there's no warrant. They just want to know she's safe at the moment. But that's because Michael was able to stall for time. So So he filed some motions, and while those motions were being processed and waiting for either approval or rejection, well, they were denied, actually. So, and I just went over those court documents a little while ago before you showed up. So they were denied, and now he's basically. And the thing is, also another development you may not be aware of is Kelly filed a motion. Her lawyers filed a motion for him to face jail time and be held in contempt if his motions were denied. So he's probably facing some jail time.
So he pretty much, did he lie on those documents? Like, how?
It's not that he lied. It's that he failed to prove or give sufficient reason as to why the judge should be recused and that the ruling be overturned.
So how does that equate to a contempt of court?
Because he left with her. Now, he may not be in contempt of court. If he shows up to the hearing, he probably won't be in contempt of court. But if he fails to show up with Sophie, then the guess is that he would probably be held in contempt in that hearing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes total sense. Gotcha. That's crazy, man. Well,
yeah,
it's safe, you know what I mean?
It's out of hand, dude. It really is. I mean, yeah, the what this has developed to now. Another thing that I've been talking about is Kelly has hired a PR firm, and she hired a PR firm months ago.
Why would she do that?
Good question. I'm glad that you asked that because nobody here really understands why.
That's odd.
How does that benefit Sophie? Is the point?
Yeah. The only way I can probably see that is if making her look better in the eyes of the court, because you know that they're going to be looking at the socials and stuff like that. So,
but in theory, wouldn't hiring a PR firm in itself look bad?
I don't really think so. Not if it's a very sensitive matter like this, you know what I mean? Where you don't want to say the wrong thing, and that PR firm will make sure you don't say anything stupid if you're prone to saying stupid things. You know, I think I don't see it being. You could take it as a negative thing, or you could take it as a positive thing. You know, a negative aspect would be she's trying to hide something, she's trying to clean herself up, or you can look at it as the fact that she's just, you know, putting all her ducks in a row, not trying to, like I said, say anything that's dumb, and just trying to keep her P's and Q's straight and in line. You know.
Well, here's the thing: is if so, basically her PR firm. I mean, it's obvious that her PR firm is contacting tabloid news sources and sharing the story and having them put the story out. Yeah. Because no real credible news sources have, only Fox News. But I mean, if you're a PR firm, then you got connects, right?
Yeah, of course.
Right. So, but no real credible news source has covered it, and they've all basically said the same thing. And they've even taken statements from Kelly's attorney. Now, Kelly is supposedly under a gag order. So is Michael. So Kelly being under a gag order, and Michael never having been, I mean, Michael always having been under a gag order, still for some reason it hasn't stopped him. But he's never been held in contempt for violating the gag order.
Yeah, they won't hold him in contempt. What they would do the first time is that they would give him, from what I've seen before,
right,
is that they've just go to court and they say, look, we know you've been doing this, you need to stop. If you do it again, we will give you a contempt of court. Sometimes they give you straight up contempt, but he's probably gambling at, hey, I'm going to get a warning. I know this judge, or I've studied this judge, because he's a big firm. You know, they're not a little firm. So that's one of the many possible outcomes that they're thinking about, you know, that they could be saying, hey, you know, we're going to gamble and push this out there. But I don't really see this as a really a national news story. It's big because it's so weird, but
well, it's not. That's actually the point. I'm not criticizing other national news sources for not taking on the case. I feel like they probably should have back then, those months ago. Sure, my recommendation to Michael, I wish that him and Courtney would have taken my advice, and I stand by it. My advice to them months and months and months ago was to look into an independent documentary filmmaker who is an investigative journalist, and get them to do the real digging into their claims of the court system being corrupt, and the police department being corrupt. And if they can make a quality film, they're going to get a lot of heads to turn. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you look at, it sounds kind of far-fetched, but I figured it's worked before. You look at the West Memphis 3. It was that HBO documentary, the Paradise Lost, the first one, that got a lot of national attention, and then rock stars got involved. And then 3 documentaries later, they get released because they were wrongfully convicted. These 3, the West Memphis 3. So it can be done, is what I'm saying. And I recommended this a long time ago for them. And they were like, yeah, that's a good idea. But it was like, I understand not being able to do it because you're so focused on the fight. You know what I mean? You're always like, what my custody fight cost me everything because it consumed my time. I was always on the phone with someone, always, whether it was an attorney, whether it was a somebody that would be a help to my case, whether it was a police officer. I was always on the phone. I was always texting and emailing. I was always, and it got in the way of my job. You know what I mean? So, just that alone, when you're in a custody fight, it is absolutely time consuming. But now I feel like now more than ever, this is probably the way to go. I feel like that's not being an attorney. I would recommend Michael do that if he really believes everything that he's been saying. And I saw the evidence myself to where it was enough to ask questions. You know what I'm saying? I didn't see proof that there was corruption in the system, but I saw proof to look into it. You know what I mean? I saw enough to go, man, that's not okay. That's totally unethical. What the hell? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, that's at this point, I really honestly feel that his best option is just to comply, and because at this point, if there's a warrant issued out for his arrest and he's and law enforcement is looking at him based on the judge's order saying that he is a danger to Sophie, well, then that puts Sophie in danger because the police are going to approach him as though he's dangerous. And her being in his possession is going to, by default, put her in danger. No? Oh, I think I lost Mr. Nutt there for a second.
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here. No, I've been saying that I do agree with you on that. The thing is that when he spoke to both you and I, he seemed like such a level-headed individual,
right?
And it makes me really question that, the ability for him to decipher whether his actions are smart ones or not. So he should be the one actually to get a PR firm.
Right. Right. It's crazy to me because, in these articles, like even Jake made a statement, and his statement, I'm going to see if I could pull that up. Does anybody know the article where Jake makes that statement? I could just Google it, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of gotten out of control, the whole situation, and it's just one of those things that are like, damn,
right?
It's definitely weird. You know what I mean? At least it's a 30-minute Hallmark show.
Okay, so So Kelly, Courtney, everybody's trying to spin this. Katie Joy, everybody's trying to spin this as a missing persons case, right?
Yeah.
And Jake Bellington being the closest thing to a dad that Sophie's supposed to have, really. He loves her like a daughter, and they're all so concerned for her safety, right? So he gets one chance. Kelly's under a gag order. He's technically not, I don't think, because or else he wouldn't have been able to say anything. But he has this one chance to make a public statement. And so he says, to be honest with you, Michael has wasted more of my time than anyone else in my life. The guy's a piece of shit. I'm trying to piece my family back together. He's completely ripped it apart. He's jealous of me. He can't handle the fact that I invest myself and my time in the kids' lives. He's a lazy sack of shit who can't hold a job. Supposedly he empowers rocks. He finds rocks or mystic sands, and that got his on his parents' property where he lives. So this is the one thing that he focused completely on trashing Michael, but no plea for Sophie's safe return.
So
no,
but he stated in that they kind of know where he's at if he's on his mom's property, living on his mom's property. That's a key thing in there.
Right.
So is he still living there or not? Why would
probably
you make that statement?
Probably. You know what I'm saying is that the cops, like, they haven't issued a warrant, they're
it's really hard.
I spoke to a detective and I didn't speak to he called me, he returned my call while I happened to be live, but I didn't play it because I didn't have his permission to. But I asked him while I was muted, I asked him if law enforcement currently considers Michael to be a danger to Sophie, a direct danger to Sophie. That was my question to him. And he goes, I will say this. He said, Michael Long does not meet the requirements that would merit a Amber Alert for Sophie. And so that's how he answered that. So basically, I took that as, we don't think she's in danger. She could be. We're not saying she's not, but we don't believe so, but he can't actually say that. You know what I mean? Like, an Amber Alert basically means that the child is in danger.
Yeah.
So,
that's really weird. I'm still stuck on that one sentence. He lives on his mom's property. That's to me, that's pretty big and pretty telling. Because if that was me and I didn't know where my stepdaughter was, I would say and plead, we do not know where she is. We are begging to, just see her on a FaceTime just to make sure she's okay. Something along those lines, but to not say that and to say the other.
I don't think that's what he was saying. I'm looking for it again. Hold on. Let's read that again. Because what he's saying, he says he's a lazy sack of shit who can't hold a job. Supposedly he empowers rocks. He finds rocks or mystic sands that he's got on his parents' property where he lives. So he's just talking about the rocks and the sand on his parents' property.
Where he lives. Why, if you don't know where somebody's at,
where he lives, yeah. Well, generally, yeah, that's where that's where his home is. That's where he resides as his home, because he lives in a camper on his parents' property. Sophie lived in the house with his grandparents, but supposedly they took off.
But again, I'm going to play devil's advocate there because I don't know either or. But again, if I was put in that position, I would utilize the little tabloid that I, that's willing to hear my story. That's one of the things I would say. Hey, we don't know where she's at, and
where is she?
We just, we want to know that she's okay.
That's exactly my point. Yes, that's exactly my point. Why didn't he take that opportunity to do that? No one has done that. No, not even a public statement from Kelly's attorneys.
Yeah.
except for we just want her to be returned safely.
Well, that can mean
But the whole
of things. You know, return safely. She could. They probably know where she's at. You could still want her in your
sure, yeah,
home.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I personally believe that law enforcement knows exactly where they are. You
Yeah.
know, that but they don't have any warrant. You know, a warrant. The definition of warrant means reason to, rightful reason to, right? So they don't have warrant to issue a warrant of arrest and take Michael in. You know what I'm saying? Like he isn't not within his rights at the moment.
Yeah.
But come the 4th, when they hold a hearing about the writ of mandamus, because it's been filed, it's denied, right?
Yeah.
But the hearing for it is on the 4th, this coming Wednesday.
I would love to see his reasoning as to why he thinks this judge is incapable of doing his or her job.
Oh yeah. That's already public too. So what he's saying now, there's already been a couple of things like the judge Kelly violated a court order saying that the kids can't be around Jake, and they ended up around Jake, and one of the kids got seriously injured, supposedly, allegedly from a go-kart accident. But one of the boys shattered their wrist, and so Jake was around them at the time, and that was a violation of the court order. There's that, and then there's also supposedly, the way that I understand it is Kelly's attorneys tried to subpoena Sophie, right? But Sophie's only 10 years old, about to turn 11. But she could not be subpoenaed without a guardian added to that subpoena because she's a minor. So they tried to subpoena a minor, which you can't do supposedly.
Yeah, I didn't know you couldn't do that.
Yeah, I didn't know either, but there's another channel called Recusal Law, who he's an actual attorney, and he's been talking about this case and keeping us up to speed on the legal things about it. And he says, yeah, you can't do that. It's a no-no. You know, so he's seeing reason that the judge made mistakes in the court. He's not taking any sides. He's actually pretty neutral, but he's just pointing out, I'm looking at documents and this is what I see, and I'm a lawyer. You know what I mean? Yeah. And he's like, yeah, you can't do that. That's what he's saying. He's like, you can't do that.
I gotcha. So that's one of the things that I really didn't know. I had the idea that you may or may you couldn't, but I didn't know 100%. It kind of makes sense that you wouldn't be able to subpoena a child. You know, there's a lot of gray area there. You know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm not an attorney, so I'm not going to pretend to say what, but that lines up with when I had a source at the beginning of all this, and I still kind of have that source. And first of all, that source is very, very well versed in this case. One might even say somewhat involved. And this person said to me that they, in all their years in family law, they've never seen anything like this. They've never seen someone hire a PR firm. Never. Even in high profile cases. But I mean, how often is there a high profile family court case? You know what I'm saying?
Who gave her that advice? Michael did, or
but what this person told me at the start of all this, before there was even a missing persons poster, right? At the start of all this, they said that Michael was filing a writ of mandamus, and that the grounds for him to be able to do so is either the judge did something wrong or Kelly's attorney did something wrong. And there's both things that I just named is one judge doing something wrong, and then Kelly's attorney doing something wrong, because there was no reprimandation for Kelly breaking that order of allowing the kids to be around Jake.
I gotcha. I understand.
Right.
So Jake did have like an order to not be around the kids from that whole situation last time, just to make
Yeah, because they needed to still determine whether or not he was a threat to the kids, and there was plenty of reason to think so, because there was evidence of drug use. Well, not technically, because he was never tested for drugs, but there's admissions of drug use coming from him. There's also I think like 8 911 calls from Kelly regarding DV from Jake. There's also a CPS report that there was DV from Jake. And I mean, you know what I'm saying? And supposedly one of the boys witnessed her get thrown across a table or something to that effect. I mean, there's enough to say, hey, this dude, until we figure things out, and get through all this, since he has no rights over the kids, let's keep him away from the kids for now.
Is he literally really that strong where he can throw her across a table, or is she just that little? God, dog.
Possibly.
I try to throw my wife across the table, I'm gonna be knocked out. She's gonna beat my ass.
Well, I mean, in all fairness, man, I mean, we, us Hispanics, man, we come from a different breed. Our women come from one too. My mom, I've literally seen her knock a door off of its hinges in one punch with her fist.
Yeah,
that happened.
Yeah, my mom, I can swear she should have been in Major League Baseball, because she could throw a can of beans like nobody else.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I've got the scar in the back of my head to prove it too, man. But yeah, that case is just there's so many little moving parts in it, man, that if you like tune out for a week, you're like lost.
You are, yeah, no, because they're moving it along. You know what I mean? They're moving things along at this point. I think now I think the court, everybody is basically sick of Michael Long. They're sick of his stalling. They're sick of his everything. Now, and I'm not saying that he's not in the right, because I don't know. What I'm saying is, if he's right, then everybody here is his enemy, and it's gotten to a point where they're all in concert going, we're shutting this dude down, and that's it.
Yeah, that's this case where it's looking. Been wrapped up like months ago, no?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't understand why he would want to keep it dragging on. He, if it was me again and I was in the right, I would want a conclusion. And even if that conclusion meant, we get shared custody, that or whatever it may be, but this is a crazy custody battle, man.
Yeah,
it's turned out to be more than just that.
Yeah, I mean, but at the end of the day, like at this point, that's all it is. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's all it is. The only reason we're still talking about it, the only reason I'm still talking about it, is because of the question of whether or not Sophie's currently in danger in his care. Is she missing? Is she, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, but she's not. So I have to continue, because there's just these idiot channels that continue to create this narrative and do everything that this Kelly's PR firm is trying to get them to do. So I have
that's what the PR firm is also.
Yeah.
Any PR firm is really good at doing. They're good at saying things without saying them.
Right.
And letting the viewer fill in the gaps.
Oh, exactly they manipulate the viewer. Right. Yeah. That's what I was going over before you came on as well. I was going over the fact that, like, if you look at all of these news sources that are covering this now, because Sophie went missing, right? All of the news sources that are covering now are just tabloid news sources. None of them are credible news sources, except for debatably Fox News, right? But like I said, I mean, they got to have connects. So the point that I was making with that before was the PR firm knows what to do. They understand that the people following this case online are people who read that crap. You see what I'm saying? So
totally
the people who are watching the YouTube channels, the people that are watching Critical K, the people that are watching Katie Joy, who covers reality TV shows, they know that they read that crap. So if it comes from there, those type of people look at that like it's actually news. They go, "Oh my God, did you read the news? The Daily Mail?" You know what I mean? And you're like, "What? That's not news. Hold up." But they don't know that. They don't know that because they believe that crap. You see what I'm saying? And the PR firm knows this. So they're manipulating the public, you know.
But see, the thing is, if
they're targeting a demographic.
If you write an article on the internet and you type in their name, those articles will pop up. And if you do not know any better, you will read them, whether you watch that type of content or not. Like if you, let's say I was watching Fox News and it came up and I was like, oh, I want to learn more about this case. It seems pretty crazy. Or, I want to help find this, whatever the case may be that, fuels your need to search deeper into the subject. And you go online and you type in their name, you're going to get these articles.
Yeah.
And these articles are going to sway your opinion.
Absolutely.
So that is, I'm going to be honest.
Especially if you're that impressionable. If you watch true crime programs and you don't think of them as real people and you think of them as characters, then you know what I'm saying? So that you can gossip about them. Well, then, you're the type of person that's going to believe that crap.
So to be honest with you, it's kind of a little bit of a genius move to have a PR firm, manipulating or not well, they are, but they're also swaying popular opinion.
Right.
And if it, which I don't think this is going to go to trial, and I don't know if the judge is looking at the socials, but maybe the prosecutor is and a bunch of other people. It does leave no matter how solid of an individual you are, it always leaves that little bit of doubt. If you crack the door just a little bit, you can get in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So crazy.
Totally. Let me address this comment real quick. Azaria Sin says, and she's new to the channel, the glare funny thing is Nick Rekieta himself said he wasn't interested in covering the case again till KL's PR team sent a C&D to another YouTube friend of his. That's a true story. I heard him say that myself. And I got the same C&D. A lot of people did. I got the same C&D. Now, this guy actually called, and he actually called to find out if that's a real thing, right? Because the C&D, what it did was it claimed, this is what he did. The C&D claimed that the writ of mandamus was closed, that it was not open to the public. It was a sealed document, right? And it turns out that it was not sealed because this guy ended up calling Nick Rekieta's friend, Spector's his name. He ended up calling and finding out, and he recorded it, and I played it on this channel. And they said, no, it's not sealed. There are certain things that you can't access online from it, but that's only because there's details of minors involved. But you can actually walk into the courthouse and you can get it from the records department. So anybody can get it. You know what I mean? They're not sealed.
Well, with C&Ds, man, you can wipe your ass with them because they don't really mean anything.
And I had no interest. I had no interest in sharing that. You know what I mean? Like the stuff that I'm sharing is on the Texas website. You can just, but
and then on top of that, the only time you got to worry about a C&D, the only time you need to worry about a C&D is when you get like 5 of them or 8 of them, or then you need to be like, okay, a lawsuit's coming. That's normally the norm is you get a C&D. You keep doing what the hell you're doing. You get another one, and then you know what's coming next. You're going to get a lawsuit because that's the setup for that. You go to court and you say, "Hey, look, we told this man several times that this was infringing our rights, and he kept doing it. We sent him cease and desist orders. Here are the cease and desist orders. Now we want to sue him for X amount of money." But if you know that you're within your rights, then they really don't mean shit.
Yeah. So on a lighter note, did you hear that Katie Joy was being sued again?
They told me last night. I went onto Twitter and I saw it. And
bro, did you see? Did you hear who it was though? Who's doing
Some
it?
broke dude, right? The dude who like had millions and then he went broke or something.
Oh,
Lost his
I don't even know. I know he's Todd Chrisley. I know he's got Chrisley's Knows Best on USA Network. I know that.
Oh,
I
so
know.
he's still banking them. He
Yo,
still got money there.
I want you to hear this, dude. I want you
Okay,
to hear. I'm gonna play a little something for you in a second.
okay, all right.
I just gotta find it. Give me a second.
Yeah, no worries.
It's in a
Yeah,
text
that
thread.
I asked a question. It was simple. So I was like, our friend is getting sued again, and it shit fire, man. But yeah.
Are you
And
ready?
people were telling, yeah, go ahead.
Are you ready? Here we go. Hold on.
So that's my kind of little rant on the press as far as that goes. But then let's talk about all the stuff that, since you want to bring up the press, I mean, clearly the press has gotten it wrong, and 98% of the time with anything they've ever written about us. Mm-hmm. Now, anyone can. You've got your naysayers out. You're not like literally. I'm suing. It's going to be public record. I'm suing Katie Paulson without a crystal ball. I mean, she has been the mouthpiece for a family member in the articles that were written and information sent. And I have the screenshots of a lot of these messages that Katie has engaged in. And so I'm suing her. Katie, I'm suing you. You know that, right? So you going on there and deleting, your Twitter and then putting it back up and then saying I can delete evidence if I want to, as long as I keep it stored, whatever. You have now been served, which you have turned over to your attorney, that you are to preserve all evidence pertaining to every article that you have written about us. And I'm going to prove in every one of them how you have lied, stretched the truth, and just out and out with just reckless disregard for me and my family. So stop playing the victim on your 46,000 follower bullshit Instagram account. You are not press. You are not legitimate journalism. You are someone who sits at home, who has no life, who tries to literally tear down anyone in this world who has done an ounce better than you. And that wouldn't take much.
Damn.
I could go to the corner and back and accomplish more than what you've accomplished. But, when you've got someone like Khloe Kardashian, who everyone in this family knows is Todd Chrisley's pick. I worship Khloe, and I love all of the girls. I love all the Kardashian girls. I think they're all beautiful and they're all brilliant. They did a wonderful sit down that we've talked about with Andy Cohen, who I love as
Yeah.
What actors and actresses do when they.
That is hilarious to me, dude.
Yeah. You go to the corner and back and accomplish more.
Absolutely.
Damn.
Absolutely. That cracked me up.
So what's the basis of his lawsuit? That she's just defaming him or?
Yeah, we're not going to have any encouragement of crazy behavior in my chat, guys. That was a warning. So, you know who you are. Yeah, I mean, that's just her just going up there telling lies about people, dude. It's what she does. You know what I'm saying? And he's calling her out on it. And he's just not having it. So like,
yeah.
Man, it would be a dream if I could get that dude on my channel. I'm saying I'll give him a sweet hour to just go off on Katie Joy if he wants.
Jesus Christ.
I'll give him a cool hour.
I always say she's the gift that keeps on giving, because she's always in something. I mean, like,
Absolutely true.
Damn, dude. I know I can get myself into some shit, but damn.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I step in some shit once in a while, for sure. We all do a little bit, you know. Nobody's perfect, but it's like she does it habitually, dude. Like, I mean, she is pure content for so many channels, just pure content.
I know
all of their content. Some channels, she's their whole content. Like,
wow. Yeah,
because she just never stops.
Yeah, she's created a lot of people who are making bank off of her. you know, and her craziness.
Right.
That is, she's a breed of her own, dude. There's nobody else.
Totally.
No, you know, to me, the funniest thing ever about her was when her and Kay got on. They were best friends, and then they went at it. That was just like a two-headed hydra just going at it, you know, and we're going after a piece of meat, and it was
It's
crazy.
just, dude, yeah, like that's my point. Is nobody who has been speaking on behalf of Kelly Long has any credibility on YouTube at all. Like none. Like out of the three of us, right? Out of the three of us that actually count, me, Critical K, and Kelly Joy, out of the three of us talking about this case that actually count, well, Ricada Joy, he counts more than I do for sure. Like way more.
Yeah.
Ricada Law does. But I didn't even know about him until just like a week ago. I didn't even know who he was. But between the three of us, I'm the only one that isn't being sued. You know what I'm saying? Like Critical K is being sued for $10 million. Now Katie Joy's being sued, and this is the second time Katie Joy's being sued.
Yeah.
You know
what is she getting sued for now?
Who? Critical K?
Yeah.
Oh, she's getting sued for she's being sued by Ray Andriacchio. And Ray Andriacchio is the mother of Christian Andriacchio, who died. Okay. And Kendall Ray I actually did a live about Kendall Ray's documentary on it. And Kendall Ray is a YouTuber with a bunch of subscribers. And she went and investigated the whole thing. And Ray Andriacchio, Christian's mom, she doesn't believe that his death was ruled a suicide. But she believes that his girlfriend and friend plotted to murder him and actually murdered him and got away with it. And it was ruled a suicide.
Yeah.
And so Critical K just went off and did a bunch of different live streams, basically telling alleged lies about Ray. But I mean, we're talking about Critical K here, so you know what I mean? Like I believe it, you know, and I don't think that she would sue unless she felt that she had grounds to. And so she basically just slandered this woman allegedly, and she's being sued for defamation.
Some people sue just because they want the person to shut up too, though, you know, because
that's true. That's fair. Yeah, that's absolutely fair. Sure.
Especially if it was one of my kids, I could see myself taking that kind of action if they just kept running my kid's name in, you know, the ground.
Right.
You know, so that's again, I'm always playing devil's advocate. But
yeah, no, for sure. But I mean, the thing is I have personal experience with Kay.
Of course.
And I know when it comes to the Sophie thing, she didn't do any research until it started to make her some money. She just threw it out there because she heard that Annie had 11,000 people in her chat at one point. And I have the text thread to prove it, because I was the one that told her that Annie had 11,000 people in her chat at one time. And then she saw dollar signs. And then she jumped all over it the very next day and attacked me while I was on panel with her about it. And I was like, I could see exactly what she was doing, and she didn't know anything. And she was just calling Sophie a liar and blah, 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 just based on the video that she watched once and just thumb through. She didn't even, you know, do any real research on the case. And then she started speaking up and getting a lot of attention. And then somehow or another, magically, she ended up getting private text messages and emails between Kelly and Michael, because I know Michael didn't give them to her. Private text messages and emails between Kelly and Michael, and recorded conversations. It's, you know, it's all history from there. So I know that she she's not a credible person in the slightest bit. And she'll say whatever is going to shock enough to get clicks and views. The only difference between her and Katie Joy is Katie Joy tries to do what Kay does. She's just not good at it. People can see right through her BS. Critical Case sells it a lot better. She's way better at it. She's way smarter.
Man.
She's way totally. She's way smarter than Katie Joy too. 100 times smarter. Absolutely.
Yeah, you might not like her delivery, but
yeah,
she does it to a T, man.
Right, exactly. She delivers it. Like, either you see right through her BS, you see the snake oil salesman in her, or you're falling for it. It's one of the two. It's not, good point. No, like either you're falling for it or you see right through it. That's it.
Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, I can't. Yeah, I'm still in awe that Katie is getting sued again, man.
That's just, man, it's just so funny to hear that Chrisley dude. Because dude, you know why it's funny to me? Because I don't watch reality TV at all. But I know who that dude is.
Well, that's a lie. I do watch some of it.
I don't watch any of it.
I watch what is it? The 38 Fiance.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, or whatever it's called. They bring people over to their country. Like, you go to their country, or they come here to get a visa or whatever, and then they get married. And I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I just watch it for the crash. You know what I mean?
Right. And that's what most people watch that stuff for. They're waiting for the drama, you know. Yeah. But the thing is this guy, you know, his thing is basically the same thing as I remember. I watched a little bit. Sometimes I watched the Osbournes, you know, the Ozzy Osbourne one.
I know who he is.
So he's like that kind of, and he lives in Georgia.
He's the guy who's married that everybody thinks is gay because he talks very
totally right. Because I
Yes.
watch it, I'm like, man, you know,
Yes.
but you know, but that's because I'm not interested in it. You know what I'm saying? What happens is in my old job, you know, I'm working with a bunch of, you know, sometimes like not teenage, but girls in their 20s, you know, and that's the crap that they watch. And so they'll take control of the TV in the lobby and they'll be playing a marathon of it. And so, like, you can't help but just sit there and just be like, okay, you know, I still just could never get into it enough to actually form an opinion about what was going on. Exactly. But I would just sit there and just make jokes and just crack on it the whole time because it was.
I think I might have watched with it. I might have watched 4 or 5 episodes in some of the lowest parts of my life where there's just nothing to do. And I'm like, well, this seems interesting, you know? But yeah, no, I know exactly who you're talking about now.
Now I love the dude. Now I love him because I mean, after he's
very snippy on the show.
Hearing this man talk about Katie Joy that way, dude, like he just totally dragged her, dude, without even taking a breath. And like, it's hilarious.
Is, I didn't do it, or what is she saying?
What now?
What is she saying? Is her response like I didn't do it, or?
Oh, I don't even know. I haven't even listened.
Okay.
I don't even know. My concern with Katie Joy is how she's approached this Sophie thing, and my only concern with her is to discredit her because she's full of it. That's it, you know. Yeah. And so that's been the only thing that I've touched on. And the only reason I'm touching on the Chrisley thing is because A, it's hilarious, and B, it's because it goes into her credibility again. It's the second time she's being sued. And it's somebody high profile who shouldn't give a shit what she has to say. You know what I'm saying? Like, I
wonder if him and what's her face, the lady who sued her last year or whatever, I wonder if they're friends. I wonder if they know each other, you know? Like, okay, I couldn't get her. You know, we settled out of court. Now it's your turn. You go at her. You know, like a plot.
I mean, yeah, dude. Like, what is she? My whole thing is like, why doesn't she learn? Because, like I said, she's not good at selling it. I saw right through her bullshit right away. As soon as somebody shared the link with me, and they were like, "Sophie's missing." She's going on here saying Sophie's missing, and at this time, mind you, she wasn't even reported missing yet. Right? Explain that shit to me. She wasn't
Yeah,
even reported missing yet. So therefore, there wasn't even a poster made yet. And
Yeah.
right away, I was like, she's full of it. And she's getting her info for Courtney. It makes perfect
Yeah.
sense.
You kind
Like
of got to be careful in those situations, man. I really, especially when it comes to kids, you really need to be
that's what
really
made me mad
smart,
is
you
we
know?
talk about missing kids on this channel. I take the subject very, very seriously. And she was minimizing it. She was using the issue of missing kids in this country as something to profit off of and create bullshit. Do what she does, but she was using that to do it, and that's not okay. I say go ahead. I say trash talk. No, don't lie about them, but trash talk reality TV stars. I don't care. Criticize the reality TV show. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Criticize other YouTubers. I don't care. I'm not saying anything against that. I'm not even criticizing the nature of her content. I'm criticizing what she does. I'm criticizing her methods. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And her
yeah,
methods are very, very questionable. Clearly, and this is, by spinning a narrative that Sophie's in danger when law enforcement doesn't feel that she's in danger, could by default put Sophie in danger because people see Michael as a threat. And what if you get a hero? You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
There's always one of those in the crowd. You're right about that.
Right. That's my point.
That's crazy, man. Damn, a lot of news, man. I got to catch up on all this stuff, dude. That's why I got to come on here periodically to
I'm glad you did,
get my
man.
fill.
I'm glad you did because I feel bad because I usually keep these things down to like an hour, maybe an hour and a half. But it's Friday night, and I wanted to, and I got here late, so I wanted to give my people some extra content, So you showed up, man. That really helped me out. I really appreciate that. I'm glad. I'm sure everybody here is glad to see you. We always are.
Yeah, so I tell everybody, man, towards the end of August, if everything goes well, I'll be back on YouTube doing my thing, doing cracking crazy, weird news stories and all that crazy stuff.
Yeah, insane.
Yeah, it's all crazy, but man. Anyway, dude, I gotta head out, man.
All right, man.
Always a pleasure to talk to you guys.
You too.
Thank you for having me on the channel, as always, man.
Yeah, dude, you're always welcome. You know that.
Oh, and the other day, I wanted to thank you for giving me a shoulder to talk to.
Oh, dude, man. Anytime, like you're one of the few people on YouTube that I consider a dear and close friend. We have developed what I consider to be a genuine friendship.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful to you for that. So thank you. Yeah. And anytime you want to talk, man, I'm here, dude.
Thank you, dude. I appreciate it, man. Anyway, guys, I will holler at you guys, and like I always say, peace.
Peace.
See you later, guys. Peace.
All right. Thanks again, brother. Appreciate you coming on, man. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me as well, man. I really appreciate you guys and logging in and all the super chats and support and the insightful comments and the great questions. I love it. I love hanging out with you guys. This is easily my favorite thing to do, man. So I really appreciate you guys, and we will do this again very soon, my friends.